And now it's time for my last word. On the Israeli-annexed Golan Heights, where just beyond the border, Russian-backed regime forces and their Iranian allies are rapidly retaking rebel-held areas in the Syrian southwest. Since Israel seized the strategic heights in '67, paid dearly to retain them in '73, and brought them under Israeli law in '81, Syria has tried to win them back by war, threats, and sporadic negotiations. And once Bashar al-Assad consolidates his grip in the south, the dictator responsible for slaughtering, starving, barrel bombing, and gassing more than 500,000 of his own people will try to secure legitimacy for his continued rule over all of Syria, including the Israeli-annexed Golan. The international community, starting with Washington, must not let this happen. It's time to recognize Israeli sovereignty over the disputed Golan Heights, an oasis of calm and prosperity amid the chaos and carnage on the other side of the armistice line. Early in the program, a former Israeli defense minister and IDF chief of staff reminded us how Syria used the Golan in the short 21 years that it controlled the area as a staging ground for war and terror. Contrast that with 5 decades under Israeli rule, during which time the Golan was transformed into a thriving, multicultural, multi-religious center for tourism, high-tech agriculture, and world-class wines. Now, it's too early to tell whether Washington and the world community will completely capitulate to Russian terms for ending the war, or if Vladimir Putin has the ability or the will to meet Israeli demands that Iran and its proxies have no place in post-war Syria. What is clear is that in this U.S.-neglected theater, all roads from Tel Aviv and Tehran lead to Moscow, where Prime Minister Netanyahu and a top aide to the Iranian supreme leader met again this week, separately of course, to press their respective cases with Putin, the regional rainmaker. For the sake of stability and for moral clarity, war criminals like Assad must not be rewarded for atrocities. Through Russian persistence and Western indifference, the despot from Damascus is riding a tailwind that will fortify his rule from the presidential palace seized by his father 38 years ago. So at the very, very least, he must not be allowed to realize his father's dream of reclaiming the Golan and dipping his feet in the sweet, cold waters of the Sea of Galilee. And that's my last word.